Sony dominates the top 10 with 5 camera models. Nikon shows up in 6th place, and Canon hangs on with just 2 models. Details coming up, but first I encourage you to subscribe and choose all notifications so you're kept informed on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. So it's Sunday, it's time for the top 10 again, and we have Sony dominating the top 10 with 5 different camera models, along with dominating 1st and 2nd place. And in 1st place, we have the return of the Sony a7 IV, followed by, in 2nd place, with the Sony a7S III. But that's not it for Sony. So yes, they're dominating the top 3 with 2 camera models. And then, of course, in 5th place, we have the Sony FX3, a video-centric version of the Sony a7S III, which is in 2nd place. Then in 7th place, we have the kit version of the Sony a7 III, followed by the Sony a7 III in 8th place. I mean, it's just absolute domination. They have 5 of the top 10 cameras, and they're dominating 1st and 2nd place. It looks like Sony has started to, well, produce cameras again. It looks like they're shipping cameras, producing cameras, and of course, you're able to buy Sony cameras, so it's definitely good news for Sony. But what is good news for Sony isn't good news for Canon. Canon has definitely slipped in May. They used to dominate the top 3 spots, and they still have 2nd and 3rd place. In 2nd place, we have the Canon EOS R6, another camera that's been out for almost 2 years, and it still sells well. And in 4th place, we have the Canon EOS R3, a bit of a surprise as this camera costs $59.99 and has seen more of a stopgap measure until we get the Canon EOS R1. But the real surprise is the complete absence of the Canon EOS R5. This camera's been in the top 10 consistently since it came out. Where has the Canon EOS R5 gone? Is Canon encountering production issues or supply issues, or is the camera just not selling as well as it did at the beginning? The Canon EOS R5 has sold very, very well since it was announced back in July the 10th of 2020 and went on for sale later that month. I think it was July the 30th? Yep, July the 30th. And it's been sold out worldwide ever since. So I wonder if this is more of just an inability of Canon to produce a certain amount of these cameras because, well, the Canon EOS R7 and R10 are coming on stream and will be going on sale very, very shortly. And what I expect in the coming months, as the R7 and R10 start shipping, we're going to see them show up in the top 10 as well. They're selling very well, apparently, especially the Canon EOS R7, which isn't exactly cheap. But then, of course, we got the Canon EOS R10, which is selling very, very well. It's a very good camera. Both of these cameras are doing very well in terms of reviews. But still, for May, based on Japanese sales, as reported by Kappa Cameras, we're looking at only 2 cameras in the top 10, although they are very solid positions with 2nd and 3rd place. But what about Nikon? Nikon is doing very well with the Nikon Z9 in 6th place. This camera could easily be placed at 5th or 4th spot if Nikon could produce more units. There's a high demand for the Nikon Z9, and it's doing very, very well. But what else does Nikon have in the top 10? Well, in 9th place, we have the Nikon ZFC. And is that a kit version? Let me just take a look here. I can't remember if it's a kit version. The Nikon ZFC, that's correct. It is a kit version with the 16 to 50 millimeter VRSL package. And of course, in 10th place, we have the Nikon Z7 Mark II. So Nikon's doing quite well. Not much has changed for Nikon over previous months, although they're still having issues trying to get enough of the Z9s to meet market demand. Canon has definitely slipped, and Sony's definitely dominating. One of the things I mentioned in the previous video where we covered, I think it was February, is Sony was having a problem getting units manufactured. They just couldn't get units to the market. They had stopped production of certain alphas like the A6100 or the A6600. And well, they're coming back on stream, so we should start to see Sony dominate a little bit more. And what's working for Sony isn't working for Canon and Nikon. Nikon still can't get enough Z9s out to the marketplace, and Canon's having a little bit of trouble too, I suspect, with the Canon EOS R5. But all in all, it's awfully fun. I love covering this stuff, and I'm sure I'm going to get a comment down below, as I normally do, saying something to the effect of, are you kidding me? Don't you realize what's going on in the world? Don't you realize we're having shortages of materials, parts, supplies, shipping, resources, people? Yeah, I get it. It's Sunday. This isn't meant to be a deep exploration of the meaning of life as viewed through lenses and cameras. It's meant as light conversation, small talk for Sunday, so that when you wake up, you're having your coffee, your tea, or you're getting ready to go to bed because tomorrow's the start of another work week, you've got something light to watch, something that isn't going to bring you down, something that's fun. And whether you own a Nikon, Canon, or Sony, whether your camera brand is slipping or increasing, it really doesn't matter because your camera still produces what you expect it to do. And I don't really care that Canon slipped. I don't care that Sony has increased. I just find it fascinating. What this certainly tells me is which cameras are of interest to you. And let's put up the prices. Take a look here. We only have one camera that's in the affordable range. That's I was going to say Sony. That's the Nikon ZFC at around $1,100. Look at all these other cameras. They're well in excess of $2,000 or close to $2,000. And I'm just going to bring up the pricing here. You're already watching it right here, but I've got it on my screen. And I'm just absolutely staggered by the pricing because in previous months, what we saw was a lot of APS-C censored cameras in the top 10. We got the Sony a7 IV at $2,500, followed by the a7S III at $3,500. Far from affordable cameras. Then, of course, we got the FX3 at $3,898, so around $4,000. The a7 III kit at $2,200. The a7 III at $2,000. And, of course, the ZFC at around $1,100. The Nikon Z9 at $2,896. The Canon EOS R3 at $5,999, so $6,000. And of course, the Canon EOS R6, $2,500. Not a cheap one amongst the bunch other than the ZFC. So this is kind of strange. Usually the top 10 cameras sold anywhere are mostly more affordable cameras. They're APS-C censored cameras. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Hold your comment. Hold your comment. APS-C is irrelevant. We're moving more towards full frame. Full frame is coming down in price, and that's why we're seeing more full frame cameras? No. Because if we look here, we don't really see many affordable full frame cameras. We're seeing more expensive cameras. We're seeing $6,000 cameras, $5,500 cameras. We've got two flagship cameras here. And yes, I am calling the Canon EOS R3 as a flagship camera. It's in an acting position waiting for the R1 to come along. A lot of expensive cameras, and that's what's really surprising this month. So this fits in line with the strategy of many of the top 3 camera companies to produce more high-end cameras. Yes, they don't move nearly as much, but they get more cost, more profit per camera. And in a market where it's very hard to produce equipment, well, why not produce the ones that, well, produce a higher revenue or profit per unit? And I think that's what's going on here. But now let's go behind the scenes for a couple of minutes. I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. One, somebody reached out to me saying, hey, are you still producing videos? I hadn't produced a video for about 5 days. Once we hit the end of May, basically that was it. News kind of stopped. We had so much information coming out of May. We had rumors of the Canon R7 and R10. Then we actually had the release of the R7 and R10, plus a couple of days of leaks. Then, of course, it was the Fujifilm X Summit with the Fujifilm X-H2S, and of course the lenses coming out. And then as soon as June the 1st hit, quiet. And not only was it quiet, but the sun opened up, the skies opened up, and I took it as an opportunity to completely relax. And that doesn't mean I wasn't working. I've received a lot of products that I have to do reviews on, and so I've been doing those behind the scenes. And usually what I do, as soon as I get a product, I open it up, I unbox it, and I take video of that. That's easy to shoot. It doesn't matter if it's going to be a good video or a good review, I should say, or a negative review. I still need those product shots, so I shoot them right away. I can't tell you about the product. It's not due to be released for another couple of weeks, but I shot most of it. I had edited most of it, but there was a few clips I wasn't happy with, and I wanted to put along a couple of side graphics to easily summarize some of the points I was talking about. Well, yesterday morning when I came down here to shoot the video, I thought, oh, I've still got content on the external SSD that I put into the Ninja 5, and I thought when I was editing, I should just copy over to the Mac. But I only had a 1 terabyte drive, and I'd already used up a good 600 or 700 gigabytes of that. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll leave it on there, and if I have to record another video, I won't format before I start using. Well, I was tired yesterday morning, and guess what I did when I came down? I turned everything on, and I pressed format. So I lost half of the content. All the talking head stuff where I'm downstairs in the basement took me 30 minutes to film. And I thought, oh no, oh no. Well, thankfully, before I went ahead, because I was thinking in the back of my head, you know what, let's just go ahead and export a copy of this in case I do anything stupid. I exported it, and thankfully there were no parts in the video where I had forgotten to put B-roll. And when I watched it myself, I thought, hey, this isn't too bad. This is pretty good. Sure, I'm missing a few things, and I guess that's the difference between a video that's rated at A+ versus an A or a B-. And I thought, you know what? I'm not worried about this. I'm going to upload it. I'll create the thumbnails. And I still haven't created the thumbnail. I still haven't created all the keywords and finished putting it up, all the metadata. But it's there. And wow, what a frustrating moment. It's not the first time I've actually deleted content I needed. But a lesson learned is usually what I do with review videos is I store everything on the internal hard drive of the Mac. So that way, when I'm shooting new videos like this, I'm constantly using the external drive of the Angelbird Atom X 1 terabyte drive. But this time around, I was a little low on drive space, and I thought, you know what? What's the worst can happen? I'll leave it on there. I probably won't have any news videos. And guess what happened, right? So this is why I have these checklists. This is why I generally follow these rules and guidelines that I set for myself. And this is one of those times where I didn't, and it bit me in the backside. Anyhow, I'm looking towards June to be a relatively slow month. I still think we might get some news. Leica might be coming out with a new camera. We might be getting something from OM System. As far as Canon leaks, it's really hard to say. Since 2020's come along and things have slowed down, we're starting to get camera announcements in the middle of summer, whereas we didn't before. It was usually the end of May, and that was it. We could take the next couple of months off. And that's where we get to see hardcore reviews of cameras. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do get some camera announcements or some leaked rumors. Again, what we're expecting for the fall, talking about the, second week of September up till the end of October, is we're looking at a couple of Canon cameras, the EOS R replacement, the EOS RP replacement. We still got the Canon EOS R1 that's definitely going to be announced. Is it going to be a development announcement? Is it going to be a full-blown announcement? And what's the leak cycle going to be? Here's the thing, with the R1, when we start to get some serious leaks, I would expect the camera to show up within 5 months of that. We saw that with a Canon EOS R5. We had 5 months of leaking, a lot of that coming from Canon. So anywhere from 5 to 3 months of when we start to get some solid leaks is when I'd expect to get the announcement. And right now, we've heard nothing, and that really fits in with what we're expecting to get the camera delivered in 2023, in the first half of 2023. And of course, Sony, we've got a lot of cameras expected from Sony. The A9 Mark III, the A7 R5, and maybe an A3 or an A5. It's really hard to say, and we don't know what Nikon's working on, but we really do expect that Nikon Z8 to come out to be more of a... think of the Z8 as a combination, as a merging together of the Z6 Mark II and the Z7 Mark II, as well as aspects of the Canon EOS R5, because I really think that that is a perfect placement for it to be cheaper than the Z9, not by a huge amount, maybe $1,000, maybe not. I know, because you look at the Nikon Z7 Mark II and where it's priced at, and it doesn't give them a lot of room for it. But where the Nikon Z7 is missing is those video capabilities that we have in the Z8, the R5. The R5 is kind of like taking the Z6, the Z7, merging them together and providing more capabilities. And that's kind of where I see the Z8, but we'll just have to wait and see. It's really one of those cameras where I'm having trouble trying to forecast and understand what Nikon has planned for it, but I do believe it is on the way. And then, of course, what is Pentax doing? I have nothing on the radar as far as Pentax is going. I have nothing on the radar as far as OM Systems is going, other than maybe we might get an OM5. And what about lenses? I hope we get some really good lenses. I'm trying to save for the Canon RF 100 to 500 millimeters. I've got this guy on sale right now, the 800 millimeter f11. So if you're in the Greater Toronto area and you're interested in buying this lens, reach out to me and let me know, because it's up for sale on Kijiji right now. As soon as I sell that, I'm buying the Canon RF 100 to 500 millimeter. Let me say my words properly. But that's it for now. If you do want to stay up to date on the latest camera news and rumors, go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you choose all notifications. By choosing all notifications, YouTube will send you a reminder, a notification, as soon as I publish a new video. So that way you can stay up to date on the latest camera news and rumors. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I hope you have yourself a great rest of the weekend. And if it's already close to, because if you're in Asia, it's probably already bedtime, have yourself a great work week. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.